לקדוש, everybody welcome, בעזרת השם ברכה, הצלחה, בריאות, הרבה נחת. יעקב בן אשר, קריאו דניאל בן מיכאל, שהקדוש ברוך הוא תשפיע עליהם חוט של חסד, רפואה שלמה, בעזרת השם יתברך, וגם לעילוי נשמת 1000 הבדלות בין החיים למתים. השהנג בן שוקרלה ומרים, רוח השם תנחנו בגן עדן, וגם את כל הנפטרים ונפטרות בשנה הזה. וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. בעזרת השם, we just finished all the high holidays. Please everybody participate in shiur. We changed the new time from 7 to 8, Tuesday and Thursday. And every morning, Masechet Sotah, we Baruch Hashem coming alone with the Gemara. Please be at the location, Paras 98-39, 67 Avenue, Regal Park, New York, 11374. You could also sponsor shiur and also the Leilu Nishmat, Rufwa, Hatzlacha. You could donate. It's a non-profit organization. We really appreciate it. We're now in chapter 4, Mishnah Aleph. Ben Zoma Omer Ezo Chacham. Ben Zoma says, who is the wise person? Halomed Mikol Adam. He learns from everybody. We're going to elaborate what means he learns from everybody. Shenemar Mikol Miladai Hiskalti. I learned from everybody, I became smart. Hiskalti ki edotecha sichali. Says your laws was going to tell us, your laws, the laws of Hashem is going to tell us what is it that we're supposed to be having a conversation. Eze Gibor, the Chachamim said, who is the strong, who is the powerful, who is the mighty? HaKovesh et Yetzro, ever able to conquer his Yetzirah. Shenemar Tov Erech Apayim Megibor. Chazal says that somebody have a patience is much greater than somebody is a powerful in the strength physical. Moshel Barucho Miloched Ir. Somebody able to control his anger and control his feelings. He able to conquer the city. Eze Ashir, the Chazal says, who is the rich? Everybody knows. Hasamech bechelko. He's rich, whatever he has. She'enamar yagia kapecha ki tochal. He says, whatever in your hands to eat. V'ashrecha v'tov lach. Praiseworthy is that man, and it's good for you. Ashrecha ba'olam hazeh v'ashrecha ba'olam haba. Praiseworthy is that man in this world, and the praiseworthy is that man in a share in the world to come. Eze michubad, who is a respectful person? Michabet et habriot, respecting others. She'nemar ki michabdai achabed, bozai yikalu. Somebody is going to respect me. If somebody is not going to respect, he's going to be destroyed. Eze chacham alomed mikol adam. Who is a person that is smart, wise, that learns from everybody? Pirush Meiri says following the Rishon, lomed ota shelo yitnahek adam ba'inyan limud b'midah ga'ava v'srara. When a person is learning, make sure he's not going to learn with the ga'ava and to be in a power, in a charge. Lomar lecha, ech ani olech lilmod lifnei ploni. What does it mean? How can I go to learn from somebody that is lesser than me? Okay? O ani tzarich liploni, echad she'ani lomed migdol hador. He says the only person and the only rabbi that are able to learn is the Gdol Hador. But the rest of the people, the rest of Rabbanim, I cannot learn. A person should learn from the person that he is able to be successful in his learning. A person able to become chacham, wisdom that is able to learn from rabbi that is in his community or in his level that he is able to explain. I was learning from everybody, and from everybody I able to learn something. But Masechet Ta'anid of Zayin, it says following. Harbe Torah lemati mirabotai. Rabbi Chanina says, I learned a lot of Torah from my teachers. Mechaverai yoter mehem. From my chaverai, from my friends, I learned much greater than from my teachers. Talmidim mitalmidim yoter mikulam. From my students, disciples, I was learning much more than from everybody else. V'adraba mechadadim shemata poskim alacha kemoto. He says a person, when he learns from his teachers, or he learns from his teaching his students, he becomes sharpened. That's how a person becomes sharpened. Okay? כדברי תוספות בנידה, איך אמרו במגילה, י"א, דוד הוא קטן. David, they say he was small. שהם שבילדתו קטן עצמו אצל מי שגדול ממנו בתורה. David המלך was קטן, he was small. No, the Chazal says, he was katan, he was small, that somebody, he made himself small, that somebody knows bigger Torah than him. That's what David HaMelech did. במועד קטן says following in page ט"ז, 16 עמוד ב', אמרו כל זמן שיהיה רבו של דוד העירי קיים, היה מלמד תורה את החכמים שהוא יושב על קירים וכוסות, וכולם ישבו על מחצלות על שטיח על גבי קרקע. So it says David HaMelech was עירי העירים, קיים, he was teaching David HaMelech when everybody else. Okay, שהוא יושב על ברי כיסות. He was sitting in back then they had chairs, they were sitting in pillows. Not on top of the floor, not on top of the floor, that where is the shatiach, which is means on top of the carpet. כשנפטר העיר, היה דוד מלמד תורה את החכמים. Once his David HaMelech teacher passed away, David HaMelech was teaching the Torah to others. שהוא יושב על גבי קרקע, he was sitting on the floor. אמרו לו חכמים, יושב מר על כסים וכוסות. He says, sit please on not on a chair, on a cushion. Sit please on a cushion. כמו שנהג עירי העיר. He says, the way your teacher was, do the same thing. ולא אסכים לדבריהם. David HaMelech did not sit on the cushions. למד את חכמים יושב על גבי מחצלות על גבי קרקע. He was sitting on top of the carpet on the floor. אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא, הואיל שפלת עצמך בשביל תורה. You made yourself, you downgrade yourself, so-called shafel. You humble yourself in front of the Torah. כמוני, בשביל התורה תהיה כמוני. You're going to be like me. שאני גוזר גזרה ואתה מבטל. Says when הקדוש ברוך הוא says to David HaMelech, when I'm going to make a decree, and that decree that I'm going to make, you're going to nullify through your prayers and through your Torah. ראש השלישים, תהיה בעולם הבא, ראש השלושת האבות. You're going to be also part of the three forefathers, which is Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. בירושלמי סנהדרין פרק חלק, סוף הלכה א', in מסכת ירושלמי says following, דברי חכמים כדרבנות, דהיינו, נתנו מורה אחד. דברי חכמים, you need a one that shepherd, that able to guide the nation. אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא, אם שמעת דבר מפי קטן בישראל, says, if you heard דברי תורה from somebody smaller than you, or somebody small, עיניך לא יהיה בעיניך כשומע מפי קטן. A person should not thinking that I'm learning Torah, that somebody is less greater than me. אלא שמע מפי רואה, ואינו רואה אלא משה רבנו. So make sure you're going to hear from the shepherd. And shepherd, Chazal says, who is the shepherd? Moshe Rabbeinu. ולא שמע מפי משה, אלא שמע מפרי גבורה. Where Moshe Rabbeinu heard from Hashem. If we're hearing from Moshe, it's like hearing from Hashem. דבר זה נוהג גם בחברי ספרים, מחברי ספרים הפוסקים. Same thing he says for somebody puts the books, which just means he writes books, in halacha, in poskim. לדין נאורות לשעה לדורות. A person, when he writes the halacha, not only halacha, this is for today's date, the halacha for the continuation and the generation. כתוב רב חיים פלאג'י בספר כל החיים, שמחבר ספרים אינו מזכירים בדבריהם רק דברי ש"ס וראשונים. Rav Chaim Palaji says, when somebody writes a book, they only talk about the Gemara and Rishonim, which just means the Rambam, Rish, Rosh, Ritva, Rabbeinu Hananiel. So he's talking about only Rishonim. He's not talking about Achronim, which is in our times, and 500 years before. ואין גדולי חכמים דאמרו בנפשם זה בחינת זקן ואינו לפי כבודו. לא טוב עושים. A person says, I'm a zaken, I know everything, I only know Gemara and Rishonim. I don't need to look at Achronim, which just means the rabbis after the Rishonim. כי אפילו מה תלמיד ותיק עתיד לחדש ניתן משה מסיני. Whatever even the student would learn today, and all the generations upcoming, it was already given in the Moshe Sinai. It was given already in the Har Sinai, which just means in the mountain of Sinai. כמו שנו, איזה חכם הלומד מכל האדם. Who is the smart? Who is chacham? Who is wisdom? that learns from everybody. En midrash bli chidush. Person says, I want to learn in the house, and I want to fall asleep in the house. Or the kids, Baruch Hashem, is all the time telling them what to do and how to do and what to do. Then the wife, then the close ones. Chazal says, over here, en midrash bli chidush. We need to learn in Bet HaMidrash. If we're not learning in Bet HaMidrash, we don't have no chidush. We don't have nothing new or something new. Hagaon Rabbi Chaim Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Chaim, Rav Pe'alim, Ben Ishchai says following. כתב שיש רבנים שאין דרכם בחוברם לתור לחפש ספר אחרונים. Says some rabbis, they don't look at the books that wrote the Achronim. Achronim, which just means in our times, 500 years, the last generation. אלא פונים דווקא לסתרי ראשונים. First they look at the ראשונים, then the Gemara. כותבים מה שנורא להם והכרעת דתם, כאשר תשיג ידם בדרך כלל מנהגים הרוב מגאוני אשכנז. Says that's the way the Ashkenazim do. They first go to Shas, then they go to Rishonim, and right away they go to the Halacha. They try not to look at it, the Achronim. Okay, he says, Machilo Kvodo. Chamavadia says that's not the way to do it. Lot of osim, not good to do. Klal Gadol BaTorah. We have a general rule in the Torah. En Torah niknet ela b'chabura. Torah only able to sustain only with it together. Like today we have it together, shiur. We're able to understand what the depths of the Torah is. Chabura, we need chabura. Chabura, which just means we need somebody to interact and speak and talk in the Torah. If a person learning by himself, okay, he probably does not utter in his mouth and is in his mind. Is he getting smarter or what is he getting? He's nothing. No, he's getting something. We cannot say nothing, but it's not the same thing learning with somebody chavruta, learning with somebody have a Bet HaMidrash. We must come Bet HaMidrash. We need to use to it. Eze chacham alomed mikol adam. Again, he goes back. Who is the person is a smart, wisdom, knowledgeable, that learns from everybody. Tamid timtza shegdolim tzarchim laktanim. Even the gdolim, which is mean the giants rabbi, needs the small students. Kamo she'amru ta'anid masechet, like it says Masechet Ta'anid in page 7. Mitalmidai yoter mikulam. Chachamim says, Rabbi Hanina says, I learn from my students, disciples, more than from my teachers. Rabbi Yochanan haya mitzafeh lekushiyot talmidav shel dvarav. Rabbi Yochanan all the time would ask the questions. Shal yedekach revicha she'amata tafi baba metzia. Like it says, that's the best way to learn. לכן אפילו אם רק רב מובחק וחכם גדול, what if a person already came in a level, he became already גדול הדור, רב מובחק, בתורה למה לא ביקש לדעת מה שכתבו האחרונים, רק הסברת עצמו. Even him, he says, he needs to look at the אחרונים to look what they're saying. Even he understands a lot of stuff. רק במה שעשיבו קוצו מדברי ראשונים ואחרונים באותו עניין. He needs to take a look at it if he understands properly. Shema Yitzhak Shem Davar Chadash. Maybe he's going to find an achronim, something new that he did not learn. Afilu lo yematza davar chadash. What if he's not going to find something new? Ani le ma shenimtza lo chaver kisivrato. Sometimes he will look the way he understands it. Maybe it is another chacham would understand the way he understands it in a previous generation. V'la kedin yichidi. So he could not be only one that is his only opinion. B'derech ze nohagim chachmei Sfaradim. That's what the Sfaradim do, looking at the books of the Rishonim v'Achronim. ותשובתכם, נאה לעשות כן. גם הגאון חוות דעת, הקדמה, כתוב שתלמיד חכם לא לבד שהוא צריך לגדול ממנו, אלא אף קטן ממנו. So it says same thing as the תלמיד חכם. He needs somebody who is bigger and greater, and somebody less greater and bigger. תלמיד יותר מכולם, מתלמידי כולם. A person learns from his students a lot more than from his rabbis. Okay? שהמורה הוראה בלי יעיין היטב בספרי האחרונים, איסור קייבית. If somebody became גדול הדור, and he does not look at the Achronim, which is the last 5 generation of the books, says not good, he doesn't do good. איזה חכם הלומד מכל האדם, who is a person that is knowledgeable and wisdom that learns from everybody. הלומד מכל האדם הרי עצמו ענווה ושפלות. What's the essence that a person learns from everybody? He shows anava, humble. V'shiflut, he puts himself down. כשם בעניין הגשמי הבא להשפיע על עשיר, למטרת הצדקה. It's like says Ashir, a rich person wants to give a tzedakah. The whole point, Hashem made a rich person for him to give a tzedakah. Who is tzedakah? Is somebody lesser than him. Who is a person is rich? Somebody greater than him. Money Torah we're talking about. אינו מסתכל על נהגות עשיר כדרכות אבהי אמרה, שם האדם מחופף וסועך לפני הבהמה כדי לחולף אותה. He says, imagine you have a cow and you're milking a cow. What is a cow? Cow is an animal. But what do you need? You need the animal or you need the milk? You need the milk and the animal. But what do? You bend and you milk the cow. What's the cow? Where are you milking the cow? In a place where it's dirty. So that's what the Chazal says. שחושב הוא ממנו, a person thinking I'm very knowledgeable, I'm more important than him, he's not that important that I should learn from him. כן הדבר זה, גם אדם חשוב הולך אצל עשיר עם הארץ לקבל תרומתו. Even a person became in a high level in education in the Torah, he still go to the Ashir Am Haaretz. He still go to the rich person that is not learner, right? He's not learner. Sometimes a rich person would take, and a person sucks up to this rich person, and he says, please, this. You have no choice but listen to him, to his, like my student says, to his nonsense. What else he's going to say? He's not going to say the Torah, right? And the lavai lagebe shefa ruchani. Same thing, shefa ruchani, which means the abundance that is spiritual needs to become to the person. Hamaran Gaon Chida. Chida says following. בספר פתח עיניים כתב שמעתי אמרו שאמרו בחגיגה. מסך חגיגה in page ט"ז, ט"ו, 15, עמוד ב'. רבי מאיר הכי גמר תאמר, מפה מדע אחר. Rabbi Meir was learning Torah from Elisha ben Avuya. Elisha ben Avuya, which is went out of the pad. Okay? For us, it doesn't make a difference which rabbi we're learning, how we're learning. For us, it's anybody that speaks good and have a kova and kippah and a piyot, that's it. He's the tzaddik and a talmid chacham, and he's a big rabbi. Right? That's the only thing we say. Right? That's what we say. So Rabbi Meir was learning from Elisha ben Avuya. Who is Elisha ben Avuya? He was the Tana. He went out of the pad. Okay? And Rabbi Meir was learning from him. Da'amar Rabbi Meir ma dichtiv siftei kohen yishmeru dad. Rabbi Yochanan says, siftei kohen yishmeru dad. Says a rabbi has to be like a kohen. He has to understand what he's saying and what comes out from his mouth. V'atorah yivakshi mipihu. If he's like a kohen, you need to ask from him Torah. Ki malach Hashem tzivakot. Your rabbi has to be malach Hashem, angel of Hashem. Okay? Im harav domeh lemalach Hashem, Torah mivakesh mipihu. If your rabbi is like an angel, then you need to listen to his Torah. V'im lo, al yivakesh Torah mipihu. If it's not malach Hashem, if it's not like a malach Hashem, don't ask from his Torah. Rav Meir karachina, eshkachech v'darash. But Rav Meir was all the time learning from Elisha ben Avuya. And each one of you, you're much greater, I guess, from Rabbi Meir. Many times when I bring Tanaim, you're going to say, no, I could do better than a Tana, a Kadosh. So, chatos necha v'shamad divrei chachamim lebecha tashir לדעתי. לדעתי לא נאמר אלא לדעתי, לדעתם. קשור קריאה דה, כי בגדול או קטן נמצא שדווקא חכם גדול שאין חשש שיטה אחר רוב שאינו צדיק, שרשאי ללמוד מכל האדם. If a lot of people is learning, if it's a tzaddik, you're allowed to learn from him. מפני שידע לברר עוד איך מתוך פסולת. Rabbi Meir knew, says take a pomegranate, he eat the seeds of the pomegranate, but the outer shell, he throw it out. And he says that's what Rabbi Meir did. And the Chachamim said, I'm going to get to the halacha. כמו שאמרו בחגיגה, רבי מאיר, רימון מצא תוכו אוכל קליפתו זורק. Rabbi Meir, when he was learning from Elisha ben Avuya, he took the seeds of the pomegranate and threw the shell of the pomegranate. It's very also bitter, nobody eating. He threw it. That's what Rabbi Meir did. זה שנאמר כאן, איזה חכם? חכמים said, what is a person considered חכם? שראוי לקרות חכם. Who supposed to be called Chacham, which just means knowledgeable wisdom. Ze lomed mikol ha'adam, that learns from everybody. What does it mean? Afilu mi she'eino tzaddik, but somebody also not tzaddik. Mi yesh ba'adora brira kamo Rabbi Meir. If he knows how to make a qualification between good and bad, like Rabbi Meir. Okay? Legaon HaShach Yoredaya. Shach says in Yoredaya in Siman 246, Halacha Ched. This is the halacha we're talking about. The Gemara, we said, who could be like Rabbi Meir, is able to take the good and the bad, throw it out, right? Bazman hazeh kulam nechshavim lektanim. In our time, everybody is small. What does it mean? A person should not learn that a rabbi is not so good. Who is not so good? How can you tell? I like this Divrei Torah. I heard you from many rabbanim, you quoting it, right? Even he's knowledgeable and smart. Even the whole nation needs him. If he's going to come to the good, then you could learn. If he's not doing good, you cannot learn from him. But the whole nation needs him. Still, that's the halacha. That's what the Maran Shulchan Aruch says. In the Yoredaya, in Siman 246. Mikol milamdai iskalti. He says, from everybody that learned, I became smart. If a Torah was not given, we will learn tzniut, modesty from the cat. Arayot mi Yonah, idolatry from the Yonah. Dove. V'gezel v'nemala, not to steal from where? From the ant. Shenemar Iyov, milufenenu abehemot eretz ma'afot hashemayim yichakamenu. He says, Iyov says following, from the animals and from the of hashemayim, which just means the birds of the heavens, yichkemenu, and that's what he says Masechet Eruvin in page 100, Amud Bet. Ze'el mikol milamdai iskalti. That's what it means. Shenemar mikol milamdai iskalti. I learned from everybody. So if he wasn't given Chas v'Shalom Torah, he would have learned tzniut from the chatul, from the cat. Modesty from the cat. From the dove, he would have learned arayot, because the dove does not cheat on his second half. Okay? V'gezel, and not to steal from the nemala, from the ant, A-U-N-T. That ant does not steal from its friend, and it does not steal that whatever is not his. Eze gibor koveshet yitzro. That was the hardest thing. Who is the gibor? Who is the strong and the powerful and mighty? That able to conquer is Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Hara yesh le signon shone lekol sugei anashim. Yetzer Hara, he says, he has a plan that beyond your understanding and beyond your willing to understand. That means 8 billion people, you have 8 billion ideas of Yetzer Hara. Again, how many people on the earth? 8 billion. So 8 billion people have 8 billion Yetzer Hara different. That means the ideas of Yetzer Hara, it's endless. He does not think like we think. He does not understand like we understand. He's going to understand differently. So it says over here, Chazal says, Eze gibor kovesh et yitzro. Who is the mighty one that able to conquer his Yetzer Hara? Okay, Lemashal Talmid Chacham. He says Yetzer Hara, well, let's understand him. Let's take a Talmid Chacham scholar, which is minimum every day, he learns 8 hours a day. That's his main job. Not other jobs, that's his main job. I'm not going to get into details. Again, I said Talmid Chacham, that somebody learns 8 hours a day, not because I'm learning 8 hours a day. Say Talmid Chacham minimum is not just sitting and doing all other stuff. Yes, you're going to say all other stuff. Then he's not Talmid Chacham. He was learning. Then he went to the job with the community. Okay? Sheoskim b'Torah batmada. Talmid Chacham that learns day and night. Hu masit otam sheichlu ve'isku b'tzadakot. Now the Yetzer Hara says, you don't need to learn, like all of you say. What do you say? You don't need to learn. Go do tzadakot. Go collect tzadakot, charity. Gemilut chasadim, do kindness. Yeah, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Masechet Sanhedrin says 2 things you need to do when you be saved from the Shuvel of Mashiach. Learn Torah and Gemilut chasadim. If that's the case, the Yetzer Hara is right. Go, leave the Torah on the side, do tzedakah, and gemilut chasadim. That's what Talmid Chacham, right? No. He tell you learn Torah. Now go collect tzedakah, charity people who need it, and do gemilut chasadim. O liot chaverim pe'alim bechevra kadisha. Or to be, he says, go bury people. Chevra kadisha. Be part of the chevra kadisha. Okay? O gmach, which means gmilut chasadim, chashmal, okay? All these things. Shu rotzeh be'emet she'aseh gmilut chasadim. He says, Yetzer Hara does not want you be'emet to do gmilut chasadim. No, Rabbi. Ela ikaro etzlo shelo yasek b'Torah. The main thing, you should not learn Torah. You should do everything and anything. But as long as you don't learn Torah, that's what he wants. The Yetzer Hara, you're going to say, listen, yeah, I learn Torah, but I also do gemilut chasadim, I do tzedakot. Yeah, but the main thing, the Yetzer Hara does not want a person to learn Torah. First, get this in your brains. First thing, he does not want a person to learn. He wants to do everything else. He wants to clean, he wants to eat, he wants to help others, he wants to answer the phone. Who's going to do it? I'm not going to do it. It's all excuse and a justification. Okay, that's what the Yetzer Hara does. Okay? אלא עיקר אצלו שלא עוסק בתורה, כוונתו לדחות פעמיהם להרחיק מלמדי תורה. He wants a person as long as he stays away from the Torah. That's what he wants. That was the bottom line of Yetzer Hara. He wants stay away people from the Torah. Staying away. Okay? כבר אמרו רבה אהבו, מבלי, אין כוונים בקיסריה שלקחת ללמוד בטבריה. אצל השירים רואים לחלץ את ה... What is the problem with the rich people? Talmid Chacham, his problem, what is the problem? The problem is all the time, as long as you do everything, as long as you don't learn Torah. For the rich people, what he does, as long as there's no poor people coming to you and collecting tzedakah, or another person came in, or another, as long as he stays away from them. Okay? That's his bottom line. Yutamim, the people that is the widows, and yatomim, which means also the orphans. That's what the rich guy, the Yetzer Hara, it says, you stay away from them. They're not good for you. Okay? The only person, the reason Hashem made a person rich, so he give the charity. Okay? הוא מסית אותם שילכו ללמוד תורה, לקראת תהילים פעמים כמניין כפרה. He says, what he wants to do, he says to rich people, he says, go learn 2 times Tehillim, Gimatria Kapara. Okay? Instead of giving. Or instead of learning Torah. Instead of learning Torah, go do 2 times Tehillim. Tehillim is much greater and better than a Torah. Okay? כמניין כפרה. You says כפרה וכיוצא בזה, מעשה חגיגה. הקדוש ברוך הוא בוכה על מי שאינו יכול לעוסק בתורה ועוסק. הקדוש ברוך הוא cries. מעשה חגיגה, page 5. Somebody able to learn Torah and not able to learn Torah, but he forces himself and to do everything possible, HaKadosh Baruch Hu cries for him. ועל יכול לעוסק אינו יוסק. What about somebody able to learn and he's not learning? HaKadosh Baruch Hu also cries for him. He's able to learn, but he's not learning. מספרים על השיר קמצן שהיה מקום מגוריו ברובשיץ. We talk about right now a story. There was one rich guy who was living in a city of Rovshitz. Okay? But he was very cheap, stingy. Okay? היה מפורסם לכל קמצנותו. Everybody knew how stingy he is. Okay? That person, that rich person. בליל יום כיפור אכל תפילה נשאר בבית כנסת קבוצת אנשים עניים. So what happened? In the night of Yom Kippur, he stood in a Bet Knesset with a group of poor people. What is he doing? לקרוא בספר תהילים. Start reading with the poor people. In the holiest day in the calendar, in Yom Kippur, what he's doing? Reading Tehillim with who? With the poor people. And you're going to say, he does a great stuff. Wow, what a tzaddik. Right, rabbis? יתייצב גם עשיר קמצן בתוכם. He says one of these groups, the rich guy is part of the group. Okay? רב נפתלי מרובשיץ, שהיה אז בבית כנסת, he was in a bed knesset, in that shul, שלח להפסיק אותו מקריאתו. He says, call him here, call him up, stop reading the Tehillim. Why? Stop reading Tehillim? Why? What is he doing? He's not doing nothing wrong. He's in a holy day, right? What is he doing? Reading Tehillim. ודרש יבוא אליו בועל דרב, אמר לו רב. The rabbi told him, come to me. He told to his students, he came. הנה כעת שיש שעת חירום. Rabbi said, this is the emergency time right now we're living. ממשלת פולניה הכריזה מלחמה. He says, Polish made a war, declaring war. כידוע שיש ממשלה סוגי צבאות שונים. He says, you know, in an army, you have all different type of people, soldiers do all different type of ways. You have a pilot, you have a commander, you have a chief commander that is in the land, that you have in a boat. He says, and this is each chayel, which means each soldier, he has his own tafkid, his own job. Okay? So he says, imagine a person that is a pilot, he's going in a boat and he's trying to get in a boat. And he says the vice versa. The guy that knows how to handle the boat, he goes on top of the pilot. Says, what's going to happen with this army? He says the army is going to destroy it and they're all going to die. They're not going to conquer the war. Okay? And he says, that's what happened to us. And that's what we are. כמה עשה מעשה וארבע סור. נכנס תוך האויב. Okay? ועיין עשיר לדתיים גם זה נקרא. He says, the Rabbi Naftali Mirovshit says, this is what you are. כיוון אנש שלא על פי דן פיקודת צבא, אבל סלח נא אדוני הרב, מה שייך לי? He says, he's a smart, rich guy. He says, what this conversation has to do with me? You know, we like to sometimes play stupid, right? What this rabbi you don't understand? And he says to Rav Naftali Mirovshit, what this conversation, not only that, what he says, says, this is the holiest holiday right now. You're talking about this to me? I heard this also in my lifetime. Okay? La'erev Kadosh, he says, this is the holy day. That's what you talk about it? Army, somebody conquering, giving me all these. I need to learn Tehillim. I need to read Tehillim. Shu Yom Kippurim. And he says, this is the holy day, Yom Kippur. That's what you're asking me? Amol l'ra baratzani la'ir lecha le'or tshuvatecha. He says, this is you. I'm talking about you, Rabbi. Rav Rovshitz, Naftali Rovshitz says to this rich guy, he says, I'm talking to you. He says, you're going to give the judgment in this day, in a Yom Kippur. He says, not only that, he says, I'm not even in the army. Who cares, he says. He says, Hashem has an army in a different ways. What does it mean? It's Tzavot Shemo Kadosh Israel. You have that army of Hashem, of Jewish people. Yesh Tzavat Talmidei Chamim. You have an army of Talmidei Chamim. Yesh Aniyei Tehillim. You have an army of whoever is poor, who are able to only read Tehillim. And you have an army of rich people. He says, you need to give money to the poor people that are not able to afford many things. Okay? He says, you go and with the poor people, you're reading Tehillim. He says, how can you go read Tehillim with these people when they need you need, and you make yourself poor, and you make yourself that you're cheap? Kamtzan. Okay? The Rabbi Rav Naftali Rovshi says, he says, you're not doing good stuff. Okay? He says, you're going to go sleep in a beautiful pillows, in a beautiful blankets. And the Talmidei Chachamim says suffering and poor people suffering. ואתה קם לך ביתה, לישון במנוחה, למחר תשמור את אשר ציוויתיך לעשות. He says, tomorrow, whatever I command you, that's what you need to do. מחר לפני קריאת תורה, he says, when I'm going to sell the aliyot לפני קריאת תורה, and I'm going to say, who is going to be giving money? ישר השיר אומר, הרים קולו ואמר, 10,000 רובל. He says $10,000. כל יחיד הקהל, everybody got in a shock. What's the shock, Rabbi? ועשתה התעוררות דבר בקהל. Because he gave a high price, everybody else in the congregation gave high price. What happened afterwards? הייתה שנה מלא שפע. That year became full of abundance. ברכות ישועות ונחמות. Blessings, redemptions. הוא רואה את בית ישראל. And he says, that's what happens. Okay? So from here we learn, sometimes when a rabbi talks to us, what do we say? It has nothing to do with me. And what are you calling me in this holy? No. What are you doing business on Yom Kippur? You're doing business, Rabbi. He's all of a sudden become halachic authority. How can you do business on Yom Kippur? So Rav Naftali Rovshitz, they say, is Kodesh Kodeshim. The Chachamim knew. The only way by Yom Kippur and other high holidays was given that you're able to support Talmidei Chachamim. That was given the aliyot. Not because we want to collect from you or we want to get ourselves a better lunch or better breakfast or better something much greater in a... No. From your point of view, supporting Talmidei Chachamim. Let's go forward. Eze gibor hakovesh et yitzro. Chazal says which person is a mighty, that somebody able to conquer his Yetzer Hara. Ze al pi ma she'amru ba'avodah zarah. Masechet Avodah Zarah says following in page 17. Nizila patcha dezono ishkol agra kafel yitzra nishkal agra. Says let's go in a opening of where Charlotte, Zonot. Okay? Says go there. If we see our Yetzer Hara is really going to make us to sin or not to sin. Okay? Baba Batra says, Rabbi Yossi in page 57, if a person goes through the street and where there's a not proper street, and he says, I'm going to close my eyes, the Chazal says he's a Rasha. So how the Chachamim says, let's go over there by the door and see if the Yetzer Hara will work on us or not. If a person walks, right, sometimes we see the Gabayim and a rabbi walks. So what? The rabbi closes his eye, but the Gabayim does not have a Yetzer Hara. So a person says, a lot of us say, we go to a party, we're not going to look. Or we're going to go to the John's Beach, and we're not going to look. The Chazal says, you're Rasha. Yetzer Hara come from the fire. We come from the flesh and blood. Who is going to be more winner? The Yetzer Hara, the fire, or the flesh and blood? Because the flesh and blood. So the Chazal says, if you're going to put yourself in this type of test, you're definitely going to fail. No, but the person says, no. I'm smarter than the Chazal. I'm different. Okay? Amai lo nime sheolech gedei lekvosh yitzro. So the Chazal says, in the Masechet Avodah Zarah, they go in order to cut the Yetzer Hara. Okay? Tzarich lomar davka leyechid sugula hutal lasot. He says only certain people allowed to do that, but the population, he cannot sustain the test. Okay? The test is he set himself. In English we say set himself for failure. Okay? And we're destined to fail. Okay? וזה דרכו של יוסף הצדיק. That was the Yosef HaTzadik. What was that? זהו דרכו יוסף מסלסל בשערו. Yosef HaTzadik had a beautiful hair. He was playing with his hair, right? You know this Midrash Rabbah. שעמיד עצמו בניסיון. Yosef HaTzadik put himself in the test, they say. על העבודה לא תמיד מצליחים. But he says the facts, not all the time we're able to successful to conquer our Yetzer Hara. That's the fact. Okay? אבל הודה נאמר לעשות מלאכתו. The Chazal says Yosef was given everything to do in a Potiphar house for 1 year to do the job. What kind of job, Rabbi? Vadim Devreis Chazal Basoita. Masechet Sotayim, page 36 Amud Bet says, Baze Piresh Baravi Ezra. Pasuk Telim, Ki Tov Yom B'Chatzerecha Me'ele B'Chartei Stovev Bevet Elokei Medor Elohei Rasha. David HaMelech says, I'd rather be in your Chatzerecha, in your courtyard, than to be in the courtyards of the wicked people. Okay? That's what the David HaMelech says. Why David HaMelech? David HaMelech had every opportunity to do a sin. Who is he? He's a king. Who is he? He's rich. Who is he? Gibor. Gibor, strong, powerful, mighty. Okay? There's one guy with a mohawk haircut. Okay? He started some type of Jermesian, what's his name? And from the Los Angeles, or he gives this, he goes so cold against it. So he's called mighty, powerful, and everybody is running after him. Okay? So it says Chazal over here, יותר משאר דוד באוהלי רשעים, כי לא כל אדם בר דעת וטוב, וטהור לב היה בחור בטוב מעוז ברע. He says, not everybody have a clean heart to understand between a good and bad. And between, to be disgusted by the bad. So there's two different things. There's a to be not to like bad, or to be disgusted by bad. What means disgusted? Disgusted, which means muse. If somebody is disgusted, he's not going to do a sin. בסופר רב חנינה ורבי יונתן שהיו מהלכים בדרך, רב חנינה ורבי יוחנן went on a path. Okay? They were traveling. והגיע לשני רחובות מקבלים. Okay? They went to the streets. There's a two path to the street. אשר אחד מהם פתחה של כניסה של עבודה זרה. One path was to enter the house of the idol worshipper, and the other path of the enter the house of the harlots. Whorehouse. וענה חכם אחד ואמר לחברו, בוא נלך ברחוב אשר פתח לכניסה, בהיות שם יצר הרע. Says, Chacham said, let's go to the path of the Avodah Zarah, because the Chachamim in Masechet Yomayim, if I'm not mistaken, page 74, Yetzer Hara, Chachamim of Avodah Zarah nullified it. So he said, let's go to that path, we're not going to have that Yetzer Hara anyways. Okay? ולא נלך ברחוב שיש כובה של פרוצות. We're not going to go on a window shopping, חס וחלילה, in Amsterdam. Okay? Okay? So he says, Adraba, Navor. Chacham says, no. Let's go to that path where the window shopping in Amsterdam. Why? So we're able to conquer our Yetzer Hara and able to get the reward for it. Which one is much harder? Pritzut. He says we're able, and they did. Went to that path, window shopping in Amsterdam. Okay? והגיע, יצרה לקבל שכר כפירת יצרה, וכן עשו, הגיע קרוב לבית פרוצות, התביישו נשים, הסתתרו מפניהם. So they said, they came to that path, the woman got in that path, that the woman was selling themselves, they got embarrassed, and they hid themselves, hiding themselves. ואמר חכם ראשון, מנאי עליו ותוך עצמך לעבור ברחוב זה. And the other Chacham says, how you so batuach, you so trust in your soul to go on this path. כלומר, תאמרה שאומרת לאדם עושה כל מה יכשול בעוון זימה. So somebody learned by Emet Torah, he's able to sustain himself, and the Torah protects him not to do this what? Zima. Zima, which means? Promiscuity. Huh? Promiscuity. Promiscuity. Okay? That's what it says. So Chazal says, שאין מחשבות הרעיות מתגבר על אדם שלבו בבני מחמות תורה. Only way a person have this arayot in his mind, all these women, because he does not have a Torah in his mind. Okay, that's what the Chazal says. Is it possible? David bekesh bachuni nevin nasani. David HaMelech says in Tehillim 26:2. Hashem, test me and I will pass the test. Okay, what's the test, Rabbi? Ha'eled ochavim v'ha'eled chen. So Chachamim said, if somebody have a really love for the Torah, he would never have this type of mind of the woman in his mind. So mitchared al shabia atzmo lidei nisayon. David HaMelech asking to Hashem, give me the test. Hashem gives him the test, and he failed the test. Then David HaMelech himself regret. That's what happens. He says, he says, I should not say, test me in a test, that I fell on that test. That's why David HaMelech says, I'd rather be in your courtyard, Hashem, than be in 1,000 courtyards of the wicked people. So we learn from here, we're all the time bringing the Gedolim. Gedolim, which just means somebody greater than us and better than us, and know how to control the Yetzer Hara. Even they fail in somewhat, they're not able to control the Yetzer Hara. So don't give me the speeches, I'm able to control my Yetzer Hara, I'm a more tzaddik than him, it's a different generations, I'm able to sustain, to hold. No, we have to listen to Divrei Chachamim. שיהיה רצון שהקדוש ברוך הוא give us ברכה, הצלחה, ששון ושמחה, בריאות, הרבה נחת, רפואה שלמה, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. Thank you. Thank you for listening. תודה רבה.